Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I'm going to bring you some RPS gameplay with my boys Metaphors and Schwab X. I'm playing here on Xaryu's, and first game we are on Ruins of Lordaeron fighting an FPS. This is a pretty good competition right now, and the main thing that you want to know against an FPS is that you're kind of on a clock. The FPS has a ton of spread pressure, and against a comp like ours, RPS has spread pressure as well. But since we have a rogue, we're going for more set up kills. We're going to go for a CC chain onto the shaman, a kill on the priest, or a kill onto the feral with CC. We're not triple dotting as much, right? They're going to be triple dotting. They're going to pop in-card, and the priest is going to be dotting everything. We are going to die eventually if we don't set up a kill. So you are on clock, like very much so. If you're not actually actively trying to get these kills, trying to set up these kills, it's not going to happen for you. Right away, we're getting 3 saps onto the shaman. We got the adaptation off from the priest by sapping it off, sapping again, opening onto the priest, and we get that dispersion right away. And I have the feral dotted up as well with vampiric touch, with shadow word pain. But right away, triple sap into a cheap shot onto the shaman, into the silence. Guess what? The shaman has not moved the entire game yet, and this is what's really gonna help us here in this game. We have to either win quick, and if the game goes long, we're gonna lose. Remember, shadow priest is now out of the dispersion. Shaman does trinket the silence, so he has no more silence onto him anymore. Going for the full fear onto the shaman on the trinket, and we take out the shadow priest in the opener. I don't often show games where we just win in the opener, but this does happen quite a bit when we're playing, when we're playing well, really, or when we're playing these setup comps. You can definitely win in the opener with a long CC chain. Once again, guys, that was sap, sap, sap into cheap shot, into silence, and then a fear onto the trinket, onto the shaman. So the shaman sat about, 20, 30 seconds of crowd control, and we were doing damage to both the feral and to the priest. So nice game there of just solid CC and then burst to go along with that. So that's kind of a strategy on how you would beat an FPS. You want to just push in, get your damage and your CC off first, because if that game goes long, you're gonna lose. Now, against an RMP, it's the complete opposite. I want to show you guys how to play versus an RMP if you're playing RPS. RMP is a game where if this game goes longer, we are in the driver's seat. If this game continues to go long, we have the Shadow Priest spread pressure. They have a Frost Mage. They don't have too much damage. So right away, I want to talk about the opener. I am stacking on top of my shaman, okay, so that the mage cannot use his frozen orb. This Ebon Bolt might even break the sap or the follow-up blind or sheep onto my shaman. So it's very much like calculated that I'm on my shaman right here in the opener, okay? Ebon Bolt's going off. The Ebon Bolt does not actually break my shaman out of that CC, which is very strange, but this is the mage Icy Veins. What I want to note as well, I'm going to rewind just a couple seconds. I let the Ebon Bolt hit me. I let my health get a little bit lower. The Icy Veins is still up, and that follow polymorph does come, and now I disperse. You don't want to disperse too low, because then your shaman can't top you off. You don't want to disperse too high, because guess what? They still have all of their damage built up, and then they're just going to swap to your shaman or your rogue, right? If the mage is about to cast Ebon Bolt, and you just disperse at 100% life, the Ebon Bolt is not going to be used, and then he's just going to turn around and Ebon Bolt your rogue at 100 ohm and a bomb. So you want to let the Ebon Bolt hit you, right? You don't want to get too low. You don't want to disperse at 5 or 10%, because then your shaman's not going to be able to top you off. I would say a good health range to disperse at is about 40 to 45%. Right here, I disperse a little bit higher. So you take the damage, you pretty much soak up their go, but then you still don't disperse at too low of a life where you can't get topped off. Was trying to go for a few there onto the priest, but he does kite me out a little bit, but that's okay. We got the mage's trinket, and we're going to go for setups onto the mage or setups onto the rogue, either one. We're not really looking at the priest, right? So the priest is the target that we're going to do CC chains onto, and I'm not going to dot him because it's going to break the CC, the hexes, it's going to break the fears, it's going to break the CC if we decide to do that. I get full kidney shot here. I have no dispersion available. My shaman's in a blind, so this is probably going to be some type of cooldown. We're going to have to see. I trinket, I shield myself, and I pop vampiric embrace. Can I follow the CC up with a silence? There I do. The rogue is now taking a lot of damage. The rogue trinket cloaks. So now the priest still has his trinket. I think he still has paint sub available, but the rogue has no trinket and the mage has no trinket. Now from here, we can either do a couple setups and go onto the mage, or we can kill rogue in a bomb still. We full blind the priest. He does trinket it. They have no trinkets on the enemy's side. Now, I have dispersion in about 40 seconds. I have no trinket. The thing I want to keep an eye out for is that smoke bomb onto myself. If I get smoke bomb, we could still lose the game. So that's what I'm calling out for my teammates. If we just survive, we win because they're out of cooldown. So it's a complete opposite game of that last game. We're playing a lot more passive, a lot more passively, a lot more defensively. Here it is. I am in that smoke bomb right away. My shaman gets that earthen shield totem, reapplies that earth shield onto me, and I will be fine with those cooldowns used. Now it's really a matter of, can we set up this next kill onto the rogue? He has no trinket. We have bomb available. Spreading that damage to the mage, to the rogue. Full kidney shot comes out onto the priest. Triple cheap shot coming out here as well. And I have the fear off the kidney onto the mage and to the priest. Mage blocks the fear there to peel a little bit. Have the double death coming out to cheap shot on the priest into the full silence onto the priest. So nice long CC chain, and the rogue goes down. So this is a matchup where I think we're favored. We should win against this RMP matchup if we play well defensively. We don't, you know, overlap or don't just die without using anything, because if you just die in the opener, you know, that wouldn't be great either. But if we use our cooldowns, period, if we use them, and if we use them efficiently and we just survive, then we win. So it's completely opposite of that FPS game. Lastly here, we are fighting a Shadow Priest, Destro Warlock, and a Restoration Shaman. This is going to be a little bit different than both of the other teams you're fighting. And a lot of World of Warcraft, guys, I say this repeatedly, it's a game of knowledge. You have to know the right strategy that you're going to execute, or else you're just going to lose the match, even if you're playing well, right? Playing well in this game means to, you know, execute the correct strategy. And sometimes that takes a while to figure out. We are fighting this team a lot, and we are kind of like only going on the Destruction Warlock, or only going on the Priest, and or only trying to go on Shaman. But what we have to do against this team is swap on Earth Shield a lot, or swap off of Earth Shield a lot, rather. So hit the target that doesn't have Earth Shield. Right away, my rogue opens up onto the Shaman because he has no Earth Shield. I fear the Shadow Priest and the Destruction Warlock, silence the Shaman out of those stuns. And since the Shaman doesn't have Earth Shield, he is getting quite low, but in addition, his partners are also taking a little bit of spread pressure. I have both of them with the Vampiric Touch, both of them with those Shadow Word Pain, having my Void Eruption, my Void Bolts going off. We do not get a follow-up CC after that full blind. A little unfortunate, but now this is our time to run. My rogue gets capped there. I throw out that Master Spell, but now look, we're coming behind the pillar here, because if we stay out in the open without stun DRs on any of the 3 members of the enemy team, we're gonna just die to the Destruction Warlock Chaos Bolts and to the Rock Pressure of the Shadow Priest. This is a comp where if we take it into dampening, we could win if we play very smart, but we could also lose if we just run out in the open. So it's almost like if we let them just free cast onto us, we are going to get annihilated. If we stand in the open, we are going to get destroyed. But if we gotta take this match, draw it out a little bit, but we hang out near our pillars, we can definitely do a good job. The Shaman was out of combat for a little bit too long. We get that full sap onto him. We kick the Priest. I'm going to get a full kidney onto the Priest, getting quite a bit of damage there. Fake the Warlock, Spell Lock, shear the Warlock there on his damage attempts. I can purge that reflection. There's the purge coming out. Damage onto the Warlock and to the Shadow Priest. Trying to dot the pet as well, keeping double, triple dots out pretty much this entire game. Don't want to dot the Shaman too much unless I know we're going to do a swap to him. Reason being, if I'm going for, you know, kidney shot into a fear, the fear is going to break. If we're going for that hex on the Shaman, the hex is going to break. So we want to dot the Shaman certain times. We want to dot the Shaman when my rogue might be saying, okay, let's maybe make a swap to the Shaman, like perhaps right here. I actually fear the Shaman and I get stunned at the same time, and it kind of slides down the pillar. That's pretty unfortunate for me. But I don't want to let the Shaman just all the time, right? We get that cheap shot into the hex. That's what I'm talking about. If I had the dots there, that full hex would have obviously broken, and I get coiled there. Chaos Bolts coming off, dispel that havoc from the Destruction Warlock. I'm trying to line this Chaos Bolt. They're not onto me. The Grounding Totem comes out. Nice Grounding Totem by Metaphors. Metaphors full silence. Now my rogue goes into that capstone there. Looks like he's going to be okay there. My Void Eruption does fall, going out of Void form. That full kidney shot onto the Shaman, and I get dots on him too, but he does fall just out of range, so it's a little unfortunate. Keeping dots up onto the Shaman now. The Warlock, the Pet, and the Shadow Priest have 3 or 4 sets of dots out, getting a lot of damage onto the Warlock. He does pop his Well cooldown and Earth Shield swap to him, so that's our time. We get off the Warlock now, right? We're not going to hit into that. He also has Earthen Shield Totem, so now the Warlock is not going to be taking any damage. We want to go either onto the Shadow Priest or to the Shaman now. Looks like my rogue is now onto the Priest. Full blind onto the Shaman. If we can follow that with some type of sap or any type of CC, we're gonna, you know, get a lot of cooldowns here. We get that dispersion from the Priest. The Shaman stuck combat, so we actually didn't get any follow-up CC out of that. I have no silence available, have a fear available, but it's really hard for me to cross the map without getting completely destroyed. Mass Dispel proving so much value here in this game, dispelling the Vampiric Touches, dispelling the Shadow Word Pains behind the pillar, dispelling all of the debuffs that this enemy can throw at us. Going in, pushing in for that fear, get that full fear. There's a little bit of lag here. This is some type of bug. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's a little bit shaky. Some type of bug with the Structure Warlocks right now. Especially on Blade's Edge Arena, it makes the game just lag for a couple seconds. It's just whenever you fight a Destro Warlock, I don't know what's wrong with it. Hopefully Blizzard fixes it soon, but full silence comes out onto that Shaman, trying to spread pressure to the Shadow Priest and the Destruction Warlock, the guy without the Earth Shield, essentially shielding my Shaman as he gets a little bit lower. Coils coming out, trying to line those Chaos Bolts, full Hex out onto the enemy Shaman. I do dot the Hex though, kill that Sky Fury Totem, spreading dots to the Priest, now get locked out, spell locked by the Warlock. A little bit unfortunate, but that kind of stuff does happen. But this is kind of the pace of the game, right? The Shaman's 45% mana. We're actually a little bit higher mana. So if we keep this up, we're going to win in pressure, win in mana. But if we were just running out in the open, we wouldn't do as well. So this is like a game where it's not like you just survive and you win, kind of like against RMP. And it's not a game where you want to rush them down like an FPS, but it's a game where you want to survive, but you also want to play very, very smart with your positioning and very, very smart with your defensive cooldowns, or else you're gonna fall. So this is really a game of positioning. And if we can kind of draw this out long enough, Shaman's getting very low now, getting a double death onto the Shaman, and he does go down. So since Shaman's playing Relentless and we had some cross CC, I'm going to replay that kill. We had the dots on the Warlock. Warlock's about 50% and he has that Earth Shield. I dot up the Shadow Priest here as well. So the Warlock is 50%, right? The Shadow Priest is 50% and the Shaman's 50%. If the Shaman had Earth Shield here, we would have kidneyed the Shaman and we would have just hit the Priest, right? Or the Warlock, because they're both very, very low at this point. But the Shaman had no Earth Shield, so we kidney the Shaman full, have triple dots out, throw a Void Bolt out the Shaman, throw an instant Mind Blast out the Shaman, and throw a Death of the Shaman, and then throw another Death of the Shaman. So that was Void Bolt, Mind Blast, Death, and Death. While we had dots ticking on the Shadow Priest, dots ticking on the Destruction Warlock, and dots ticking on the Shaman. That's so much spread pressure coming out pretty much immediately, and that's the kind of setup that you need to get if you want to, you know, land a kill against a team like this. It takes time, takes a lot of goes and, you know, effort and energy, but eventually you will take them out. Here's the damage breakdown at the end of the game. We are topping the damage here, but if we played out in the open, we weren't playing as smart, the damage would look completely different. We'd get destroyed in damage and we would die in the first minute or two. So nice games there, guys. A little bit different strategies. What I want you guys to take away from this video is that your strategy depends on what you're fighting, right? There's not just one blanket like, oh, do this and you'll win, or do this strategy and you'll win. It's okay, what are we fighting? What trinkets are they using? What composition are they playing? What specs are they playing? What map is it? You know, all of these things come into play, and then you're like, okay, this is a strategy that we have to execute. We have to play, you know, really aggressive if we want to win, because if we don't, we're going to lose. Or we have to play really passively. We have to live couple setups and then we'll win. Or, you know, we have to really focus on our positioning here, because if we stand out in the open, those Chaos Bolts will land. Hopefully that comes across here in this video. Thumbs it up if it did and this video helped you. Guys, thumbs the video down if you didn't like the video. Talk to me in the comments below about what you guys want to see for next time so I could do a video on that. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!